Crush! Vengeance will be mine! Shudder! Eye for an eye! Ninjutsu! Buckle up! Hi! Fire hazard! Here comes the fireworks! Crush! Rack and ruin! Look alive! You're dead meat!
Impossible things don't just happen. We'll get to the truth one way or another.
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lenny and Lynette, at least we will be Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what—
Thanks, Navia.
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation go?
To be honest, you might be
No, we're already very— Well now, don't you all look disappointed. That was to be expected, of course. The guilty, but don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding them— Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have—
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that case, you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not—
Yes, that's correct.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady—
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact—
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm—
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask—
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time.
And you didn't hear anything else at all?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was—
Huh?
Hey, hang on!
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud.
I was right by the box and I...
Look at those scales. Could those mean...
Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatui's doing. Now it all makes sense.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably wasn't...
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept... The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting. Oh, good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I...
Hey, Linny! What?
Order! Order! Mr. Linney, first, when the thud was heard, are these claims... Please answer my...
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the center.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary?
The defendant deceived their own attorneys.
Order! Order! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense? In that case, my dear audience, let's...
Well, this is awkward. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Paimon doesn't know. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption, not to set the wrong tone or anything, but...
I'm very sorry. I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers...
Right now, we want to save people.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this. I knew if it weren't... That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you. But the truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us right. So, you be the judge. Heck, you met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster, but still, I'm asking you to try...
Sorry.
Please. Well, you both say that, but... Right, let's hear you...
Of course. I'll answer any question you ask. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core... From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick, with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that what you needed?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to... So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went...
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that, which should have been impossible, of course, I was quite... That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on this. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished. After that,
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order...
That's the only way we can save...
So, there you have it. The whole truth. It was never my wish to proceed under the... But, like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatu...
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay.
Thanks for giving us a...
The current problem is that the scales are tipped If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna... Huh?
Both parties have returned to their positions. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina...
At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective. Countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the... He did not realize that this sound could be heard by... Finally, he used the vase. At this time, Cowell arrived, so Linney proceeded. Afterward, Linney... And there you have it.
Does the defendant's side have any objection?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events. Linney went to the room that can... Linney did not take part in the underground altercation.
According to Linny, he left via the vent up.
Attention! When the countdown started, but he immediately used. Once he reached the crime scene. Finally, he reached. Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that!
In other words, you believe that he knew—
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, assuming that what you say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap the young girl to—
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him! And that's why they're partners of mine.
Oh, well, your denial is very strident. I'll give you that. But what Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole— You're saying that he wasn't?
That's right! Linny wasn't in the box. This means that when the crime happened, the same clue you used to disprove his alibi.
To think you'd use such well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
The deceased's name is Cowell. Halsey is the missing person. Could there have been a third person? The deceased's name is Cowell.
That can't be.
Oh,
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. The deceased's name is Cowell. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. So, where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey? Linny was not in the tunnel at... The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny as well. The sound we heard may have come... It would have been tough for both people to... No one entered or left the The deceased's name is Cowell. No one entered or left... No one entered or left the sound we heard may have... Halsey's clothing with... Halsey's clothing... Linny was not in the tunnel at... It would have been tough for both...
you still having trouble?
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not just like the trick is—
If only we knew.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real.
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Lenny was not in the tunnel at that moment. The sound we heard may have... The deceased's name is... No one entered or left the opera house through its entrance. The vase was not...
Oh, Paimon gets it! It all comes together. Lynette escaped. If there's a...
How could a person ever be transformed into water? Magic tricks are...
Even so, the truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of— Since Cal was the deceased, but given that we aren't—
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when...
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, guards, please step into the lounge and examine the...
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical... We discovered several test tubes of fluid within the notebook in his backpack.
The primordial...
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs, and the notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is...
You gotta be kidding! People...
But something so ridiculous
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but...
Huh. If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if... Wait just a minute. Could that mean...
Demoiselle, wait! What about your...
Let's go. Just...
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects. Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Hall... Guards, please continue. Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by...
Of course. If we uphold this
Right! Like the metal hut! Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that.
The rope that strung the water... Now it seems like the hook rope. Now it seems like the hook rope. The water from the primordial... Lynette was in the magic box. The deceased's name is Cowell. I remember there was some...
Ahem! It's Ace Detective Paimon's time to shine again! In the original plan, Cowell would tamper with the water tank rope and the number select when the magic box containing Halsey was lowered. The metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top when the balloon attached to the box popped. The water from the primordial seed inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowell would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water in... But...
Huh.
that actually...
Who did now? It seems like the only point of contention his notes mentioned he...
On that note, I shall now invite him on stage.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting, and we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial...
What?
That can't be. Does this not clear? My dear citizens, my loyal audience, allow me to... Vinny did not need to take... Having made modification that upon his... Ultimately, he knocked Cowell out. Now, as my... Am I right?
We've used up all the... Is this the end of...
no. Seems...
I think we've all... I believe this is indeed... Now then, Mike...
excuse me, everyone.
Miss, I'm...
Oh, come on. I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared. What?
No offense, miss.
Come on now, don't... But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth? And wouldn't such a... Come on, but as the magic makers and stars of the...
I understand.
And voila.
Sorry.
Wait, isn't that...
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me. And then...
That'll teach...
Where should I begin? Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real... That's how I make a living. But I was...
Hey! No wonder you look familiar. Liddy even mentioned that you...
Well, and I thought he even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. So I played... I wasn't going to... There was no... I slipped out after...
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, I swear it. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
This time, we need to tell the entire story from Lillian's perspective. The strange sound... The flower vase was not... Lillian was...
And it's having been selected. Her panic only intent hearing the commotion. He did not know that Lillian mistakenly believed the two broke with no way of escape. That she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So...
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting.
At this point, all the events that...
Ah, so that's the whole...
Bravo! Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina. Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended.
What? Are you reading my mind now? No. I have no further argument.
Wow.
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of the actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected with some modifications to cover up any evidence while he also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the... Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel. If all had gone to plan, realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and, however, his opponent was more capable than he thought. and he was overcome, knocked on Lillian according to her own. As for Linny, from this while there is much in Linny and Lillian, this case at least. As such, Linny and Lynette.
Great work. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, how did you find the water from the primordial?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that...
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you, yes? I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, therefore you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek the protection of the guard.
Yes! Our boss discovered that the water can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent more off it.
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness. I shouldn't—
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now? That's...
Traveler, Paimon! Please wait.
Winnie...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you... But still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end. Even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatu, I guess. But I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the...
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, back when our parents first died, to survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. It took me several days. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and to my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in.
So you went from orphans to...
That was how we felt at first too. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he...
That doesn't seem too bad either.
It took a while for me. After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was... I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. The answer he gave me was... She caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift.
Oh no. But what if I...
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care. I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person, and hurried through the night. All I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the Knave standing there in the darkness.
So... she'd already taken care of that.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement. Father, the Knave, might have seen something in me, and so she made... The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. I was hesitant to trust her, But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our—
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
She has gained permission from the Saritsa to first use the Gnosis' power when she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to
So, she believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water. Thus, everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the knave, has their roots in Fontaine. And we will always, to us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to—
It's alright. I understand. I just hope you can if you should need anything at all in the future.
Bye, Linny!
Hey there. What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us now?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting close. Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides, are you sure? And given that there's new evidence from the
I see. Well, I'm sorry.
Don't say that now.
And we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new... Wait.
Huh?
Well, Anyway, it would just be a...
You don't have to twist...
Oh, wonderful.
All right, then. Make my escape.
Ad Astra. Thank you for Ad Astra.
You